said he'll be here in a minute. Okay. It'll be just a second.
Is that better at all?
Oh, Eddie.
Is it bad?
That sounds worse.
Sounds worse?
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
I'll go.
Austin, you're there. Do you have a fan on in the background?
Me?
Yeah.
It's my external hard drive. I'll just turn it off.
Yeah, something is like super noisy.
It's like screaming from home.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a cheap like 4-bay external hard drive thing, but it works.
I think it's your microphone cranking itself up to like catch you and the room.
So we have actually been looking at key on Typescript at work during work, like for your work ticket.
Yeah, I've been, well, I don't have a ticket yet. I'm doing a spike, which is basically just like go learn something. So we're learning, or I'm watching the course from Front End Masters with Mike North, and he's like going way in depth with TypeScript. So he goes into like classes and implements and union and intersection types, function overload signatures, and like crazy stuff.
All this scary stuff.
Yeah, all super scary stuff.
If someone can drop the link for live share.
I assume it's going to be Austin. Is he here? Yes, no, maybe so.
He's there. Oh my god, he actually has a headset.
So I guess while you guys are waiting, I found out about this today.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Good?
It's okay when Eddie's mic is off.
Oh, wow. Let me just.
Yeah, it's my gaming headset, so.
I don't think you guys can see my screen, can you?
No.
No.
What did you
Okay.
find out?
If I can get over, I don't know how to share my screen on Hangouts.
Hangouts, it's just to the left. You see that little green thing? If you go over to the left of the screen, you'll see like a little green.
Okay. Yeah. I want to share this one. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So I was reading this page today about lexical scope because Mike North in the TypeScript course was talking about lexical scope and like how you can pass in a this type to functions and stuff. But on my TV, I like wanted extra contrast on this text because it's, you know, black on white. And so I highlighted it and it's all red. And I was like, holy smokes. I didn't know you could change that with CSS.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like colon, and I forget the actual thing.
Selection.
It's like highlight something.
Colon selection.
Huh? So, selection. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was pretty impressed with that. Did not know that was possible.
Yep. I think that's something it's somewhat new, like at least HTML3 or whatever.
So,
So the way I was thinking about doing this is you guys actually like trying to write it, and I would kind of like help you along,
okay.
because that's how I did it with Bistro, and it helps you guys to learn it more, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can do it, but I just feel like if you guys actually write it and I kind of like teach you along, it might be an um uh easier for you guys to like have it stuck in your head. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
German, do you want to fire up a project, or Austin, do you want to open up something, or what?
What do you guys want? React with TypeScript or just plain vanilla TypeScript?
Well, I was planning on doing React with TypeScript and basically just building out a simple login form that like uses useReducer and a context provider and all that stuff.
Well,
And I guess the first question is, do I just create a React app and then choose
Yeah.
TypeScript or the other one?
Yep. Yeah. Just to create React app with TypeScript. Which, if I remember correctly, it's just the create React app call with a dash TypeScript.
Let's see. Cool. I always forget NPX is a thing.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's great.
Right. And GitHub.
Eddie, we're going to lean on you for this. Since I had muted him, but
Oh, sorry, I muted my. What are you trying to do?
we're going to learn how to use TypeScript in React.
Okay, cool. Now, what are you leaning on me on? Is that
You use TypeScript, don't you?
a little bit? Well, yeah, a lot, but but not with React.
Shouldn't matter.
What you use TypeScript with or for?
It's Angular. Right now, we're doing Angular JS.
AngularJS? Oh wow. I didn't know they put TypeScript in that.
The client we're working with has done this, so that's what we're using.
Got it.
Yeah. It's all right.
Oh, wow. Even the image for React TypeScript is different.
Say that again?
Even the, wait, did they change the logo for React?
Are you sharing screen?
I'm trying to open up live share, but it's not wanting to work.
You want me to try to stop it and try resending it to you guys?
Sorry?
Should I stop the live share and try resending it to you?
I'm
Let me see if
trying
it
to
works.
sign in now.
It says the session is no longer active.
Let me try it. Go live. Oh, that's the wrong live button. Start calibration session. All right. I resent it. Maybe this one will work. Oh, I think I sent you guys my when I was trying the link for when I was trying to
Yeah,
send it.
there you go.
Yeah, that's my bad.
There it
I
is.
sent you my wallet link. All right, let me. You guys
All
should
right.
see it on port 3000.
Freaking signed in like 1,000 times.
There it is. Great. So I got localhost 3000 up with the Typescript React logo, I guess. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Looks weird.
And then
Oh, interesting. I've never actually seen that before myself either.
I think we touched this last week.
all right, and I
I
got
did, but I'd never actually like. We ran it. We built out the login form before we actually ran it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here we got my app. Oh, there we go. Source. So the way I was gonna say that we should start doing this is obviously kind of like eventually blow this away. But build out just a very simple login form. So you're gonna have an email, a password, and a submit button. And the way that I don't know if this is like Reacty or not, but the way that I kind of like doing it, just because you're gonna have like context and you're gonna have like a reducer and everything, is I like to build it out in kind of like a feature module. It's not exactly a feature module. It's just like a component that has like state and stuff as part of it. If that makes sense.
nope.
No.
No, okay. So let's start with first. Let's just build a. Let's do this. Okay, and then let's do. Okay. So first, let's build out a login form component that literally just has 2 inputs and a submit button.
Just the normal plain vanilla JavaScript type component.
Yeah, just a functional component. So I mean, we could literally even just, if we want, we could just grab this, just not have to worry about all the BS. All right, there, and then kind of just remove this or modify it, whatever, to just have like your simple like 2 inputs and a submit button.
Yeah, so the whole thing.
Sure. Dang. Is that the emit thing? I've never used that. That actually is pretty nice.
It's the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, I actually typed the darn stuff out.
You said 2 inputs or 3 inputs? Oh, just password.
Yeah, username, password, and then like a submit button.
Alright, that's my really plain version of that.
Okay. So then let's call this login form. Oops. Login form. And you'll notice right here, so one thing, I like it being a little bit more simple, so I usually just pull this out. So I like doing it like that.
So what's that, just importing types?
Yeah, so you'll see, can you guys see what I'm hovering over, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yes or no? I heard both.
Well, I'm hovering over.
Oh,
over
okay.
the-
So Lee, if you hover over this, the FC here,
Okay.
you'll see it says type FC P equals empty object equals function component P. So P here is, if you haven't guessed, props. So right now it's basically saying this component is a functional component with props as an empty object, because props defaults to an empty object. Its default type is an empty object, as far as I know.
Okay.
What about children? Because props always have children.
I think you have to add that in. Like you actually, like you have to create like an interface. So, well, we're not going to be doing it yet, but pretty much you would do, this is how I've done it. Now, again, I'm not an expert at doing this for React. It's just, this is just what I've learned throughout the time that I've been building TypeScript in React. So there may or may not be a better way to do that, but this is what I've seen that works out well for me. So anytime you have like props that are being passed down, you would just put them in, you would create an interface right before. And you would just say, I don't know, we'll just say, this isn't going to be it, but we can just say string, string. Excuse me. And then here is where you would say, I know children has a certain thing, and it's like React. I'd have to look up the type, but it's like React. Dot. Oh yeah, I think it might be like that. React children. Possibly. I'd have to double check that, but that's what you would do. Is you would say, or you can have. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's just on the other side. So yeah, I think it would be something like this that you would do. And then what you would do is you would say FC props here. And then all of a sudden if you hover over it again, hover over login form. So hover over this here, you'll now see that it says login form is a functional component that takes in an interface of props.
So what's the difference between the brackets and doing something like this?
Nothing.
Is this
as
like...
far as I know, nothing.
Could you also do like something like that? Or...
Yep, except the problem with that is, yeah, you could do that. But the thing of it is it's, to me, that's not as clean. Like, I feel like this is very clean, and you're stating the whole entire type all in one place. Whereas if you were to do it like that, you have this FC here, and then you're saying, okay, the props are going to be here. Oh, no. Okay, so I am incorrect. Yeah, I am incorrect. What that does, sorry. So what you're doing does is basically, if you were to, as you're doing, pull out into their own, so if you were to like destructure the object, that's what you'd want to do. To destructure it, you'd want to do that to then say, okay, this object that I'm destructuring from is of interface props. However, I believe that you wouldn't even have to do that. Yeah. So doing it this way, you wouldn't even have to do that. But that's technically what that's doing. Let's say.
So if you use the square or what are the angle brackets? Anyway.
Yeah, they're carrots. Yeah, left and right carrots.
So if you use the carrots, that's the same thing as manually like putting in the colon interface props.
There might be angle brackets. I don't know. Yeah. Basically, the way that like this is technically called a generic, the function component.
Okay.
And the generic takes in a type, and you pass it that type, and then once you pass it that type, that generic then takes on kind of like that form and knows, okay, I know I'm going to have I'm going to be a function component of this type, and this type is going to be the props, and that's what's going to be passed in.
It looks
so when
like...
you see...
Sorry.
Yes?
was gonna say it looks like children is already on a function component.
Yeah, it totally might be. And that's one thing I haven't dove too deep into the actual types themselves. Um,
Yeah.
and it's props with children.
Huh.
Yeah, yep, there you go. So yeah, there's it's type props with children, and children is already of an optional type on there.
So it's a React node, which is weird.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like a React element is what it's saying, like a node as in like an element or however you want to explain it.
Cool.
Sure. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you guys from that question. I was just always, like my main curiosity of using TypeScript with React stems from the fact of like, do I make like a type to pass into the component, or do I use an interface? So it's just like
so
the things I get hung up on.
yeah, and that's I I have always used interfaces. That's what I know best. Um, I think they're they're almost interchangeable. There's a few differences that I know of. There may be more, but the few that I know of is interfaces you can extend. Um, excuse me. So you could say interface props is this, and then you could say interface, I don't know, boo extends props, and then you could, oh yeah, thank you. You could add on like um, Baz is a number. And then if you were then to do this, you will see that we are actually able to say Baz here. And
How,
that's fine.
how come it doesn't scream at you when you don't destructure Baz?
Because it's still part of the object itself.
Okay. So like it's still getting passed in?
Yeah, because yeah, so you would have to pass it in, but you don't have to destructure it because you're only when you're doing that you're only pulling out what you want, right? But the object itself, it's going to yell at you if what you are like if you're trying to pull something that's not part of it, I believe. So if we were to do like foo here, yeah, exactly. It's going to say, oh, yo, I'm sorry, you can't do that. Like, I don't know, that doesn't exist on the type that you've given me. But if we don't need Baz, we don't have to pull it out. Like, you don't have to. But TypeScript knows that it's able to be pulled out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just weird that you can like
You
require
sound like
stuff.
you're still a little confused.
Yeah, because you're saying like this
Sorry?
thing has to take in this property Baz on the object, even if you don't use it. Which is kind of weird. Well, I guess it has like that little linting that says like the destructure elements are unused, but
Wait, what do you mean by that? I'm not
like
sure.
we're not using Baz anywhere. Like nowhere in here.
Yeah, well, we're not using any of them anywhere, right? So basically, you could literally just do props and then just, I don't know, props dot per value is equal to props dot, what did I say, user? So you could do that and it's all fine. Now you could also do, and that's totally fine because you're only pulling that out, right? You're pulling user out of the props itself, but that's because you know that at this instant you're only ever going to use it.
Right,
Now,
yeah.
usually you would want to just, if you're going to do it this way, you'd want to pull them all out. Or you could even, I believe you could do like rest. And so if you did this, like that.
Hmm.
And that would pull the rest of the props that you're not actually destructuring in there. So then you could just say for whatever reason, this wasn't an input, but say it was like an input that we had. And we wanted to specifically say, oh yeah, I don't know, we need boo to equal user, but then we just want to pass down the rest, right? So like, oops, just want to pass down the rest of the props. Wait, hold on. Oh,
You still have to put in
yeah,
the
this isn't gonna work because it's not an actual thing and all that, so it's gonna yell like crazy. But if this were an actual component, I believe you would be able to spread out these props, and they would just basically build themselves out.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could do that. But the main thing is about TypeScript is not that you have to pull out every single one. It's that the ones that you're pulling out, you can deterministically know you are going to have. So that's the main thing here. So what will happen is if we grab this login form, all right, so let's put this back to input. Let's not worry about this for now. Let's save that. So now if we go to app and we just pull this out and we just plop in our login form. Okay, so right off the bat, it's screaming. It says, yo, what's going on here? You aren't passing me anything. And I know from my interface, I need Baz, user, and pass. So that's really where the TypeScript comes into play in the interfaces. If you don't have these optional, that's where this really comes into play. Is it's like, okay, I'm saying that I'm going to have user, I'm going to have pass, and I'm going to have Baz that have to be passed into this component for whatever reason. I'm using them somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in the component. So they have to be passed in.
Huh.
So because of that, when you declare your component elsewhere, it's going to yell at you and say, yo, I know that you need these three things. I am not going to stop yelling at you until you successfully pass me. Oops. Baz. Actually, can't we? Yeah, we can just do Baz. Can't I do it like that? Yeah, I can. Okay. Baz. Or you know what? Let's just do this. Baz. What did it say? User and pass. Let's type true. Oh, hello. There we go. See, beautiful. It tells me straight up, yo, you got the wrong thing going on. I think I can do. And then, oops. So now, look at that, beautiful. We're not getting yelled at all because now you have successfully passed in all of the types that are needed for login form to successfully do what it needs to do.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And what I really like about it, which is what it'll so I was like, oh, I'll just pass it down like this. And it's really cool because it's like, yo, no, you're trying to pass down true, but I know this has to be a number. So it yells at you, and this is what I was telling you guys before, is it makes it more deterministic, so it mitigates a lot of these bugs that could happen from like accidents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
could see,
if we
like in our code base at work, we've got, like I was working on today, a button component, and it's like a global button, so it has a bunch of configuration options to it, like,
exactly.
hey, this thing can take a prop of color, and it can take like type, and the
Yep.
color can only be these certain string values. So like with TypeScript,
Yep.
that would make it would make a lot
Exactly.
of sense. So you could just like hover over it and be like, oh, it takes this that could be these
Yep.
values, yada yada yada. Whereas me right now,
Exactly.
I have to open up that component, look at the
Yep.
file, look at the props that it
Yep.
expects and all that garbage. Whereas here it's like a bunch of IntelliSense.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not, and yes, the IntelliSense is amazing. It's nice. It's also awesome. But even more so than just the IntelliSense, it literally enforces what you have to have. Like, say it was accidentally, it came from an input value and it's a 1, but because values always come through as strings, it was a string of 1 and not the actual number 1. And say this was a variable and we didn't see it like this. Say, let's do const number equals. It's beautiful because it's going to yell at you and be like, yo, like, I know you think that you're passing down the right thing, but you are not. And that's going to it's just going to, again, mitigate those bugs that could possibly happen on accident. So now the second we turn this into a 1, hey, look at that. It's like, okay, now I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things I love about TypeScript. And I mean, for me, I know I even just scratched the surface, because I mean you can get really crazy with types and stuff, and I've only, again, scratched the surface. But even just for myself, it makes it very deterministic, so I don't have to worry about accidents happening. Um, and again, as you had explained, Lee, a long time ago, is this is within your application. There, of course, is things that if you have things coming from outside the edges of your application, you have to do what are called type guards. Um, I don't know if you looked into those yet or not, but it basically it's not even really, it's nothing new. It's just JavaScript, but you basically say uh, this type of is this type of whatever equal to like string or whatever. But TypeScript gives you a little bit more, so you can actually see if it's like an instance of your, excuse me, your class type, or if it's a type of your actual type and things of that nature.
Why don't we build out, since we're doing a login form,
Hmm.
instead of making it a login form, make it like a API form where you pass in some value and it hits an API. And then we can, with TypeScript, say like, okay, we're going to get some external data. So let's try and type that out.
Okay, yeah, that's fine if y'all want to do that. I would, yeah. What my plan here was to do like a simple login form and then go through the whole entire kind of like um, portion of use reducer where it would come in and you could like do simple validation, and then you'd have like you'd be calling events and you type all the events out, you type the whole entire use reducer out, type out the context, all of that. But I do know that that might be a lot, so if you want to kind of like pivot and do something like that, Lee, I'm totally game.
Why don't we do a little bit of both, where we validate um, some of the input fields, and if we have time to refactor into use reducer, we can do that too.
Okay, sure. So let's just back up this stuff here. So we keep it like that for now. Yes, I know that's going to complain for a few. For now, we'll just remove these types. Oh, well, actually, so one more, what I was talking about this. So interface allows you to extend other interfaces. And if you do it through types, you cannot do that. There is no concept of extends. However, there is a another concept, and I forget exactly what it's called.
Is it implements?
No, implements is also with interface. When you
That's for classes, right?
no, it's for interfaces. It's basically when you, like right here, what we're doing is we're implementing this interface. So I
Okay.
think it's mostly implicitly done. You don't actually have to write out implements. In other languages, you actually do have to write it out like that. But anytime that you're actually putting your interface and you're building it out, you're implementing that interface.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, it's basically if you were to do this. So you said type, um, we'll just say boo equals, I don't know, string. Am I doing that wrong? Oh, yeah, right. Okay. And then you can say type baz equals number. Then you can do type foo equals boo and baz. And then what that will do is, as far as I know, again, I'm still kind of like new to this concept. Oh, in fact, no, let's just do this. Uh,
This is like intersecting types.
yes, I think that's what it's called. And yes, intersections. That, as far as I know, that's the way that you can kind of quote unquote implement the same thing as an extends on an interface. String, and then pass string again. And then if you were to do type foo is boo, both boo and baz, foo will implicitly become user string and pass string.
Hmm.
So now if we were to say foo, okay, as you see, so let's just remove this props thing. We save that. We go back to here. You'll notice it says, yeah, property user is missing in type empty string, but required in type boo. So it's saying user is required in type boo. And then if so, I believe if we do user equals user, still going to yell at us because, yes, exactly. Property pass is missing in type user string, but required in type baz. So what we're passing right now is a type of just user string, but it's saying we need pass as well. And that is because what we are actually using, which is type foo, is a combination of type boo and type baz. So if we were to say, okay, pass equals pass, boom. It now it's, and you can even see right there, if you hover over login form, you'll see it says login form is a function component of type foo. It doesn't say of boo or baz, it says of type foo, but it knows that foo is a combination of boo and baz, and they both have required types. So it's not, login form will not be successful until all of the required types from those other two types are passed down. So that is the other way that I currently know how to do it. I've always used interfaces though, so that's kind of what I usually use. But I have been looking more into actually doing it straight through types, because I think that may be a little bit more the I guess best practice way to do it. I just never fully learned it that way. But anyway, so there's that. So that's the one main difference that I know is, as I said, interface can be extended, and types are intersected, as you said, Lee. There's like one or two more. Oh, interfaces. I actually I think so. Yeah. So interfaces always have to be an object of some sort.
Yeah, so they can be like an array, an object, a
Yes,
function, I
exactly.
think.
What's that?
Interfaces. I don't know.
Well, yeah, they could have it inside, yes. But as far as I know, or maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Because the thing of it is, hold on.
I heard Mike North say it could be anything that has a prototype, but I think like everything in JavaScript has a prototype, so maybe he's crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
No, you could be correct. I've only ever used it to. Okay, this is what I wanted. Let's see here. Equals.
I don't think you would ever use it for that though, or at least I can't think of a use case. Maybe maybe he used it for overload signatures. I'm not sure.
Yeah. See, the problem is though, you can't use an equal sign with interface. So I don't know how you would do it. Like I've only ever been able to create interfaces as if it were an object. And I believe that's the only way you can instantiate an interface is by the object syntax, and then anything inside of that is going to be whatever you want. So you could do foo is equal to a function, like you were saying. You could do baz is equal to what was it? Oh yeah, an array, as you were saying. And you could even do foo2 is another object. But as far as I know, interfaces can only be instantiated as object syntax, which leads me to believe interfaces can only describe an object of some sort.
Check this out.
Whereas
This is
no
off
idea.
of some website.
Okay.
But apparently this is the syntax to do a function in an interface.
I don't see where you are.
Oh, sorry, I'm in login form.
Okay.
What? So what? So,
Sure. Yeah, but that's doing pretty much, yeah. This is still your object syntax though.
Yeah. You have to put it between the curly braces, but like
Right. Exactly.
the thing in there is a function, which is kind of weird.
Well,
Here, this is the website if you guys are curious.
I believe though.
I don't know why you would do this, but
Key value processor. Key value type. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I have never done that. I was not 100% aware that you could do. Well, I guess technically, again, it's the object syntax. So even that is still doing the object syntax. It's just doing it in a weird way where it basically it's saying this is the key and this is the value. Whoa, I don't know what that was, but it turns out to be an actual like function. So you could even do like you can do. Oh, sorry. I'll let you do your thing.
no, I was just curious how the function signature looked. If we grab that one, let's just call this one 2 or whatever. Grab this and just did like how do we even do it? Just call it a function and then just.
No, you wouldn't even need to do that. No. German, you wouldn't even need to do that. You would just say like this.
No, I was just curious. No, I was actually not curious about extending it. I was curious of like defining this the other way Lee did it, like this. If the function, like if the type would look the same when you hover over it or something.
so I think
Well, this is not extending it. You are literally saying this function is of this type.
Yeah, it's saying it has a method fn that takes in a key and a value and returns nothing.
Right, exactly.
So the interface is like a function type only, which is pretty crazy, but
Right, yeah. So yeah, I've never done that. But clearly you are able to do something that's interesting.
Going from, you know,
Would this be like, I don't know, key value processor or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so because this is saying I'm passing, like, this is going to be of this type, so I'm passing this in.
Oh,
So I
so
don't think that's going to work.
would it be like
I'm looking at the way they did it. You would have to, okay, it would be if you were setting it.
that?
Let me
Yeah, I
see.
guess so.
Yes, exactly. Yep, exactly. Yeah, it would only work if you were like setting it as if it were like a first class citizen.
Huh.
So you would say, okay, Baz is going to be this function type, and then that's what it looks like.
Pretty bizarre. We should
Yeah.
we should probably start building this thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it in that case, I mean, I would do it more so. I would actually create that as a type. It makes it much simpler to understand. But that's cool.
Probably.
I did not know that, so thank you for that, Lee.
Yeah, I saw that today watching Front End Masters TypeScript thing, which is
Gotcha.
like way over my head.
Yeah, again, like I said, I'm no absolute expert at TypeScript, and in fact, I probably just scratched the surface. But yeah, I mean, that's for what I do. What I know is perfect because it's just making the application deterministic. But obviously, you can go much further than that. Okay. So that being said, I guess at that point, let's kind of like start building this thing out.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I don't know if you guys want to take the reins and kind of continue, and I'll just.
yeah, sure. I also think we use the JSON placeholder API. That way we have an API to call.
Yeah, I mean, you
So we
guys
can actually pass
use
it
whatever
around.
you guys want to do.
So,
Any way you want it. That's the way you need it. What are we gonna call these things? This is what?
I guess we're getting like I picked this to use the posts, but can you pass in the posts? You can pass.
I want to use something fun. Like the movie API or Pokemon or something.
That jokes.
Pokemon. I like that.
Here's the that jokes API.
Perfect.
There you go.
You really need to sign up. I was just trying to do something where I have to like put a key in or something.
If there's if we can't get anything else, we can always do like the movies API or something.
Nope, it's good. We just you just have to make sure you specify because this one's actually like a proper API. You can tell it to give you HTML, JSON, or just plain text. So
Cool. So throw
So
the
right-
throw the endpoint in there and let's see what we get.
give me 1 second.
Wait, how do you request? Is it just like give me one joke, or how do you like send it a parameter or something?
So there's different things you can pass into it. Da-da-da-da. You can.
I'm assuming we're probably gonna have to use something like Axios or something to actually make the request, huh?
Oh, you use fetch, right?
Oh yeah, okay, yep, that works too.
Okay, so there's a search one where you can either you can pass it a term. So you can within that search program you put like a term like such as like maybe you want to hear a joke about coffee or whatever you pass in coffee.
Okay. Let's keep it. Let's just do that since we're running out of time.
I'm actually, yeah, I'm very curious. I wonder, you have to be because This will be interesting to see the typings for fetch. I've never used fetch with TypeScript before.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No, because that's one thing that I kind of like a lot about TypeScript. And again, I know Lee, you kind of said that it's not 100%, but I like being able to create your model of your response,
Yes.
so that when you get back, you automatically know like what you have in your response object, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I explained before, and as you had mentioned, to be 100% sure, because it is outside of your application, you typically would want to do type guards if you aren't sure that the API response is going to be the same every time.
Right.
So let's see here. I wonder.
Just want to make sure that my thing works.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Okay, so if you hover over fetch, it actually, that's pretty cool.
Oh, so I can call this.
Yep.
What's the type again? It's fetch.
It's going to be of type, I'm assuming, I don't know what, oh, request info is probably going to have, let's see if we can find request info.
I think it's request init.
I don't know. I'm about to find out. I'm going into the definitions now. And it's taking a while to find it. Yeah, you're right. It's request init, and in request init, there's a headers, which is headers init. You can also pass it a body, a credentials. This is actually quite nice. All nice and typed out.
Request init. Can I type? What's it called? Headers?
So
Or
be of type headers headers init. And headers init is either headers or an array of string arrays, or an array of arrays of strings.
can I write it real fast and then we'll figure out the types. Gosh, my thing keeps jumping around, Charlie. I know I just completely messed you up right there.
Ed, are you able to jump in here? I know I put him on mute because his mic was crazy, but
Oh, you don't like him. That's what happened.
that's totally not that.
I've had issues. I'm like a bit of a delay.
Oh, what am I doing? Catch. Oh, bring apart it. It's failing. What are you showing? Wait, if I don't put that there, someone call it. Oh, nice. And I got back the joke, so we're good. So I have a question for you, Austin.
Yeah.
So let's say I have an object right here. Is there a way for me to tell TypeScript that I want this to be of type headers?
It already knows. Hover over headers.
Oh, so I don't have to tell. Oh, right.
Nope, because it knows that request init takes a key of headers, and the type of that key is going to be of type headers. So once you give it that key, it already knows that that key is going to have a value of type headers, and that value of type headers has a key of type accept that is of type string. In fact, you hover over accept, you can see that it knows the accept is going to be of type string.
I wonder if it has something for what's it called? Query or params?
Let's see. If you right click and go peak definition on request init, it will go to the definition file and give you everything that you can use. Literally self documentation, baby.
Yes, this is like the same thing I've been like liking a lot about GraphQL.
Mm-hmm.
You just grab it, it just generates everything for you.
Yep. So it looks like you are looking for maybe the body? URL search params or form data?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for?
URL search params would I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be part of the body.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to make a body key.
And
And that body key is going to have URL search params, which if we look at what that looks like.
body init, it's type of body init, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to find the URL search params itself though. There it is, peak definition. And URL search params is going to be looks like a constructor, actually.
So it's a map.
Well, it says prototype is URL search param, so I'm assuming that is there like
Are you guys getting stuck on
an API?
how to get a joke?
No, we have the joke. We're stuck on typing things.
Yeah, so that's actually a web API is URL search params. The URL search param interface defines utility methods to work with the query string of a URL, and you actually create it as a constructor. So here you go. I'm sending it to you, Drummond, or to all of you actually. You actually create it as a construct. You construct it, so it's a class pretty much, and then you build out the URL search params, and then you just pass the body. You pass that in the body, I believe.
But
So here, let's do this.
mhm.
Const search params equals
These are like screw this. I'm just gonna go ahead and
I couldn't hear you.
not at least not even waiting for us. He's like, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it my
Oh
way.
yeah. No. Do you know what you're trying to search for?
Yeah, we want to have a the key should be term and then whatever you want to pass.
The key should be term. So how would I do this?
Oh, so it's just gonna be like it would just be like You're right.
Actually, oh no, you would do what, dot append or whatever, I believe. Or dot set. Sorry.
You can pass in a to keep things simple. You can pass in a an object. So I guess you can pass in a.
Oh, can you pass in an object? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it takes that. That was what the map was on the types and signature. So something that looks like an object or a map specifically. So term, and then.
Oh, or I could just give it a param string. Okay, well that makes sense.
Very good. I just swap over. Yeah, it doesn't like that at all.
Wait, are you sure?
Oh, here we go. I like it. It likes it. That's fine. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. So then, yep, you grab that and you put that into the body.
And it doesn't like it.
What are you guys trying to do?
Variable
Type or request.
Yeah, the term is a query string, so I don't know why you guys are messing with headers.
Oh, we're trying to like pass in the appended to the body to the query string.
I already did that
Oh,
here.
well, yeah, that's right. This is it. This is if it's so, like part of the actual request body, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah. So we don't need any of that.
now. What if we wanted to be the term to be optional?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Don't have to worry about that right now.
So what I want to know is, now that I have this, like getting a promise from fetch, like TypeScript is now angry that I'm using .json.
Right, yeah, so you have to look at the response type.
So can I tell it like, okay, this will have a JSON function on it, or?
Well, you can, but so here. First, before you do that, check out because it has a type of response.
Wait. I think I know why. Where's the data? Where's you're still calling? Wait, you're still getting back a promise.
Right. So okay, here's the interface of response. I'm just gonna paste it here.
Wow, where'd you get that from?
If you just go to the type definition, so if you right click on say res, and you can see it'll say peak definition, go to type definition. That will actually take you to the typing of whatever it is you're looking at.
Nice.
Yep. So this is the actual response type it's giving you, which is interesting because there is nothing. Oh, it extends body. Sorry. So now we have to go look at body. Body is probably where it's going to have. Yep. So JSON, it's a method though. So did you just do .json or did you do .json as a method?
It's .json as a method.
Yeah.
And it yelled at you?
Yep.
Oh, it's not yelling at. Oh, it's.
It's saying that.
Oh, because it's either void or response. So you have to do. That's why, because you have to do a type guard. So this is the type guard thing I was telling you about. So you have to say if res do that, because now
okay.
if you now so that's that type guard I was telling you, because as we have
Okay, no, I was just like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's coming from the outside world, it could either be void or error or whatever, or it could be the actual response, but it doesn't know. So you have to do a guard to say, okay, I'm going to get rid of the error case or the null case or whatever, so that once I'm in here, I know deterministically that response is the response object. And then I can say .json and boom, we're good.
Okay.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
Would I do the same thing if I was expecting for the actual data that's coming in the response? So let's say in here inside that response, we're expecting. Let me double check. Where is the thing?
No,
We're
what kind of
expecting ID, like
data is
joke
it
and
getting?
status.
wait, I sorry, I couldn't hear you guys.
So would we do something similar to like make sure we like get the right data inside the actual body once we actually get the response back from rest.json? So it's not type any because it can be
You just cut out there, German. Sorry, buddy.
uh, oh sorry. So would we do a similar type guard when it comes to making sure we're like picking the right data out of the data object in this case?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, depending on whatever it was. Unfortunately, it seems like the fetch typings doesn't allow you to pass in a type. It's not a generic, so you can't actually. Excuse me. This JSON is only going to be a promise of anything of any. It doesn't seem like it allows you to pass in a type, so you can type it further, which is a little upsetting. Axios actually allows you to set the response type. But that's fine. I mean, not much we can do there. However, here, what we could do here is we could say, okay, so you have this joke data. Is that, do we know for a fact that this is the interface for that?
I want to double check real quick. Am I still console logging out? I think Lee has a console log down the bottom.
I made the form functional, so
Do you have to
Sorry,
type the function?
which function?
So the give me a joke.
Right here, the JSON.
Come on, Edward.
Edwin, are you talking about type the JSON function here?
You know, can you put a type right after the parentheses?
Here? You mean like
Like no, up right where term string is.
return string? Where's return string? Can you show? Oh, okay. Yeah, you could do that. You could say sure, because this is right the return type. You could say it's going to be of joke data. You could do it there. You could do it here, as I did.
Okay.
Both of those do work. You're correct.
Okay.
The only problem with the way that you're doing it here is it's just assuming that whatever it's coming out is going to be joke data. But if you hover over data on the return here, so if you come down here to data and you hover over, it still has a type of any. So say you wanted to do more processing with data, say like you only, for whatever reason, we want to return data dot joke, right? Or no, say we wanted to do data dot joke, but we accidentally typed it as data dot jokey, right? Well, what's going to happen is it's going to expect this joke.data here, but since this is actually just a type of any, it's going to just say, okay, well, that must be it. That must be of type joke data. And since we did data.jokey, well, we're actually returning undefined here, right? Because data.jokey isn't the thing on joke data, which we know is going to be the response type. However, if we were to do joke data here, what? Well, now that confuses me.
let's see if this thing works real quick.
Yeah, that's. Oh wait.
Type string is not what?
Why is it?
Wait. Let me remove this type return type we put in.
No, that's not even the thing. Hold on.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It was good for a second.
Oh man, what in the world? Well, that's confusing to me. Oh crap, guys, hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry.
He did.
Gotta go for a second.
Now we're just returning a string, so this should work. Cool. Has nothing to do with cats or dogs, but
Yeah. I wonder what happened there.
I think these are just random jokes. What's going on in this logic up here?
Oh, I gave you the wrong endpoint. Wow, I think
Is it? Oh, is it slash search?
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's right now.
I was gonna say this API is garbage. Undefined.
Let's see what Oh, just because you're getting back now, if you actually get the search one actually gives you back more. So it's going to give you the current page, the limit, next page, previous page, results, and within the results you have the objects, the jokes, and stuff like that.
Okay, so now we've got.
Let me post right here. That's the response object.
So we want. Oh God.
Sorry.
I don't know why it's like. My cursor is.
Although I keep overriding it by accident.
I don't know what's going on. So it's going to be an array of ID string, joke string. And that's all I care about.
Cool.
I think. So now we want to return data dot results 0 dot joke. Let's see if this blows up.
Oh, it worked.
Did it?
I put dog and it says, why did the cowboy have a winter dog? Because somebody told him to get a long little dog. Wait, what? Makes no sense.
Is it the same joke? Yeah.
The cowboy joke for dog? Yeah, it's the first one on the list. I don't get it.
I'm back, by the way. I will figure out why.
Oh my gosh. These jokes are so bad.
Oddly enough, they have an Alexa integration. And I want to install this in somebody's Alexa. You're making the joke random again.
What are you doing? Oh, this is temp. Never mind. Let's see if this works.
There's a line that fell. Wait, maybe
Why? Oh, there it is.
it opened up. It blew up for me.
It's working on my side.
Let's see. Type error cannot read property joke of undefined. Oop, let me save it. Maybe I didn't pick up the last change.
Yeah, it's working for me. Oh,
No.
did you? No, it seems to work.
Hold on.
What do you call a pile of cats? A mountain.
Yeah, I just got that.
What are you guys looking at? Oh,
It was raining cats and dogs the other day. I almost stepped on a poodle.
Oh, that's not bad.
I get it. I see what you did there. This is
What-
cool. I even did like some really stupid JavaScript here to get a random result, and TypeScript isn't yelling at me, which is kind of neat.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because it knows it's going to be a number of some sort. But
Although this is kind of like trusting because
no.
like we're assuming that data will have results, even though like the API could break and then not pass us data.results. It could pass us like nothing. So we should probably do like if results and results dot actually maybe not there, but oh god, German's throwing a giant try catch in here.
There we go. That solves your issue.
Yeah, that's literally one way to do it.
Yeah,
Just let it explode.
yeah, you could do that, or you could just do it as Lee was saying, more of a type guard.
Yeah, like if there is no results, return no joke for you or something like that.
Or we don't want
Right.
to
Instead of this horrendous try catch. Although I guess here you could do like a console log error.
I've honestly always wondered what to properly do when you catch an error.
Pass it to your error handling suite.
It's always like,
Right.
What we do is we let it explode.
wait,
For
really?
like, if it's our own APIs, we don't defensively code against it. Because if our own API blows up, like we want to know and we want to go strangle that person. So
Well, yeah, no, if it's an API, I agree, but if it's the front end, you don't want to let that happen.
no, we don't
Like
like
the API,
if it's
the
in
API
our
should
code
be
base,
restart.
if it's our stuff, like yeah, we
Yeah.
take care of it. But if it's some other, like if it's the API team, then we don't.
What do you mean by that? You don't take care of it?
So like, if I was doing some kind of operation where I created an array and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
then I would check to like make sure that that array exists before trying to use it, or make sure like a property on the
Yes.
object exists. Or if it's like an external API like Algolia or something, we would check like, oh,
Yeah.
make sure this thing exists when it comes back from Algolia. But if it's like we're hitting our own API that our own team created, and that
Yes.
they have created a spec for, like we don't defensively code against that.
It's very trustful.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. That's the thing. That's what I was saying is, if you know the response that's going to be coming back because you build the API, then you don't necessarily need a type guard. Like you can just make the model of what the response is going to be and just assume that that's always going to be that response. Because and you should also have like other checks in place. So if for something bad happens in the API and you do have, I don't know, say a response code of like 500 or something, you should have something like up at a higher level that would catch that
Yeah,
and do something else with it.
we have like a general explosion component that
Right,
pops up whenever
exactly.
like something catastrophic happens.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
If you have full control over your API, then yeah, you don't necessarily need to defensively code against it with type guards, and you can assume that everything is going to be fine. It's just when you're hitting unknown APIs that you need to do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still can, obviously, if you want to be extra defensive, but you don't 100% have to.
This is
Probably still be a good, safe thing to do, but sorry.
wait, if it explodes, you just want to refresh the page.
Nice.
I've never done that. I just always joke about it for some stupid reason.
Anyway, that's so silly. I forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that while you guys are like above me in the same file changing the code, like TypeScript is telling me like, hey, like this type is like wrong now. So that's kind of neat.
Right, exactly.
Well, cool. I don't think we have time to like add in use reducer and do like crazier stuff.
No, yeah, no, of course not.
But this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh, one thing that I did do that I snuck in was this. Any type on a HTML event.
I know, I see that.
This is like a particular pain in my you know what. So like, how do you handle this without using any? Like, what's the generic type for an HTML submit event or whatever?
There is actually, yeah, no. If you hover over on submit right here, you'll see it.
React.form event.
Yep, React.form event with an HTML form element passed in, and it returns a void. They have one for every single one. They have one for on change, on submit, all of them.
Yeah, because React, they're synthetic events. They're not actual like form events.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That implements
An HTML form element. It doesn't implement, it gets it. It receives it. So React.form event is more of a generic, and you are then typing out that generic with whatever type you're passing in.
You'll have to go over that in English.
So
because I don't know what the carrots are doing here.
Yeah, so if you hover over React.form event,
yeah,
you see how it says React.form event T equals element?
Yeah.
So T is what's called a generic. It doesn't have a type itself. Like, it's not a type. But what it's saying is, I am going to receive a type, and with it, so if you right click on form event and then you do peak definition, you'll see, do you see where it says interface form event T equals element extend synthetic event?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you see on synthetic event, it also has T.
Yeah.
So what that's saying is T is going to assume the type of whatever type you pass in. It's a generic. It doesn't know it. It's a generic type, but once you pass something in, it then takes on that type and is of that type. So you'll see it's adding a default T equals element. So the generic type defaults to just a regular element. But if you want to add in a more specific type, you are able to pass one in, and then T will take on that form. And then you'll see it says extend synthetic T instead synthetic event T. Well, T again in that case is going to take on the form of HTML form element. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Kind of. It's pretty heavy duty thing, extending other thing, possibly becoming another thing kind of stuff. I'm really glad that this comes with the type definitions, and I didn't have to like figure this out myself, because this looks like a real PETA.
Yeah, no, actually, Lee, that's a good thing to know. A lot of the packages, packages actually these days have typings that you could at least either download separately, or they come with the typings. And what that does is, if you download them, you then get this whole entire thing. You can right click and go to type definition, and it will go to the typing so you can see exactly how it's typed.
Yeah, and I learned that the @type stuff on NPM is maintained by Definitely Typed.
Yes.
.org.
Which is like a community. It's like a sort of open source typings.
Right.
Can get together and actually type out a lot of these packages.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yep, exactly.
Right, so I do have a question, because I've always get confused. So if you guys go to where I am at, which is React App Environment DTS, what am I looking at here?
Where? Sorry.
Just click.
Oh, React App in env.d.ts.
What is this? What am I looking at?
So, okay, this is a type definition file and I'm not 100% sure about this, but if I remember correctly, this is referencing types that come in from the npm module, if I remember correctly. So it's referencing, if we go to, let's see here, tsconfig. I'm not, don't hold me to that. I'm not exactly sure, but if I remember correctly, that's what that's saying. Let me just look it up myself.
Is this a new file that you made, German?
No, it was
You're
there.
cutting out for me.
Oh.
You cut out for me there.
I was just asking if German created this file.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, this is part of create React app.
This is
Okay, so
this is for the linter, right? For like VS Code to see like, oh, this is where the types come in, something like that.
I believe it's for the TS config, but I'm not. Hold on, I'm about to read it right now. /directives. /directives are a single line comment containing a single XML tag. The contents of the comment are used as compiler directives. /directives are only valid at the top of their containing file. A blah blah blah. The / references instruct the compiler to include additional files in the compilation process. Yeah, so okay, that's exactly what I thought it was.
Oh,
So I believe it's going to grab the types from the node module React scripts. So if we were to look in, if we were actually like do npm install here.
I just figure out I can actually declare my own types here, and then they'll be part of the. They'll be kind of global to the app.
Yeah, so if I, can we like kill this real quick?
Oh, you want me to kill?
Yeah, just do npm install. I want to see if I'm correct here.
Install what?
Just, or no, no, just npm install, like to actually install the node modules.
You probably should have done yarn.
Or yeah.
Now the project's toast. That's funny.
Oh. Sorry. You know what? I already have one with all of them. I can just look at mine.
Are you guys good with ending the stream here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Cool.
I
Well,
just wanted to see.
It actually works. We built something that works.
we did. We built something that works with TypeScript, and we didn't have to punch our computer or anything, which was a great success.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys get anything out of this? Did I teach you anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well that's good to hear. Cause
I haven't actually tried to write any TypeScript for over a year, so
okay.
this is pretty interesting.
We used it over the weekend during our little hackathon. And we figured out that was the easiest way to get across Phaser because to get all the types in one shot. So that's how we were figuring out the API just from looking at the type definitions. Granted, some of the way you import the type definitions for Phaser is weird, but it helped us.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, there is a type definition file in React scripts. So what I'm assuming that's doing is then pulling in this type definition file.
Probably,
so that
yeah,
it,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's what that does. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to learn something. We can either continue doing this next time, or if y'all want to do something else, I'm game for whatever.
Cool. We can, yeah, we'll either keep doing this and see if we can get like some crazy type puzzles with React going, or jump into like Node or something and start messing around with like a database or something and working with that
Yeah.
with TypeScript.
Yeah, I actually I have a kind of like a Node Express TypeScript starter thing that what code base repo whatever that I built that we could either base it off that or we could try to like build it from scratch to get all the things in together or however you guys want to do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, cool deal. Well, thank y'all. See y'all later.